back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I'm here to do a book haul. This is actually going to be filmed in two parts, but I'm going to just squash it together because I did a book haul about 2 days ago and I haven't yet had the chance to edit and upload it, and I've still managed to pick up or be sent a whole load more books. So I'm just going to squish the two parts into one video, and hopefully that's fine with you guys and you get a bumper book haul, which is always a good thing. Let's quickly get started and I'll run through everything I've been sent. There are 2 books I'm super excited about in this haul, so I'll show you them when I get to them. The first book I was sent, this one came in the post, didn't request this one, hadn't ever heard of this one, but it's got a really pretty cover and it's set in a carnival, as you can probably tell from the front cover. Amanda Hocking is the author of the Tyrrell series, which I read the first book of and I didn't really like, so I never continued on with the series. It was about like trolls and fae, I think, something weird like that. It's set in 1987 in a small town, but things start to take a dangerous turn. Dun dun dun! So that's that one. The next book is a book I bought for myself. This is The Beijing of Possibilities by Jonathan Tell. It's a collection of short stories. I can't remember where I heard about this one actually. It was definitely on someone I trust's channel, otherwise I wouldn't have got it. But it says, Beijing is the centre of the universe. Ask anybody who lives there. The true Beijinger secretly believes that people living anywhere else have to be, in some sense, kidding. Blending humour with carefully observed details of life in Beijing offer a rich and entertaining guide to the city and its many varied inhabitants, from a modern-day monkey king to an equally contemporary indentured servant, from a boy testing his first cotton candy to a Ming Dynasty princess posting her first online profile. It sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. As you guys know, I have a real fascination with Japan, and I just find them fascinating. So stories set within Beijing sounds really cool to me. This is another one that just turned up in the post. It's called Kings of the Wild and it's by Nicholas Eames. This one comes out on the 23rd of February, so fairly soon. It says that it follows a mercenary group who used to be like the hotshots of this world. They used to be the ones that everyone called in, but we've moved on many years and all of them have kind of got fat and grown old, and unfortunately things start to happen that mean the band has to get back together. The mercenaries have to regroup even though they're old and grumpy, and we follow their story in this book, so if that sounds interesting to you, maybe give it a go. The next book I have is another one I picked up for myself. I bought this one after reading The Good Immigrant because this book really made me want to read more about people who are different from myself, and apparently this book is kind of like that. It was recommended to me from Ellie, whose channel is The Bibliophile, I believe. It's Jhumpa Lahiri's, or Jhumpa Lahiri, I think that might be how you say it, I'm sorry if I get that wrong, and it's called The Interpreter of Maladies. These elegant stories tell the lives of Indians in exile, of people navigating between the strict traditions they've inherited and the baffling new world they must encounter every day. Whether set in Boston or Bengal, these sublimely understated stories, spiced with humour and subtle detail, speak with eloquence to anyone who has ever felt the yearnings of exile or the emotional confusion of an outsider. The next 3 books all turned up in the post today, and I got all of them from Elizabeth secondhand because she had them on her shelves and she was getting rid of a whole load of things, so she asked me if there was anything I wanted, and there were a few things that I said yes please. Totally forgot that we'd had that conversation, so when they turned up in the post I was like, ooh, what is this big package? And then I opened it and was like, yay, I totally forgot that was a thing. So thank you Elizabeth, you're a star. And she sent me Harbinger of the Storm, which is by Aliette de Bodard. I've never read any of Aliette de Bodard's work, but this one sounded pretty interesting, and I've heard kind of mixed things about The House of Shattered Wings, so I thought this one sounded better. It says, the year is 2 House. The Mexica Empire teeters on the brink of destruction, and the ailing Mexica Emperor, the living link between the world of mortals and the protector god Huitzilopochtli, has just died. The Empire lies vulnerable to the flesh-eating star demons and to the return of their creator, oh, another one I can't say, Koyaleahuqui, the malevolent goddess only held in check by the first one's power. Gosh, I'll hold it up so that you guys can see. That's what their names look like. This one and that one. Can you say them? I don't know. The next one that she sent on to me is Sea Lovers by Valerie Martin.
This has a beautiful cover and it's a short story collection. It says, wondrous beings and everyday monsters walk these pages. In each of these 12 stories, ordinary lives are transformed, myths bloom into reality, and the everyday is haunted by obsession and duplicity. So that sounds pretty good, and like I say, this cover is stunning, so I hope the book is good as well. And the final one she sent on to me is one that I have actually tried reading before. I did DNF it. I'm gonna try it again. It is The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. This was translated by Joel Martinson. It's the second one in the Three Body Problems series. I really, really like the Three Body Problem. I don't own it in physical form because I read it on my Kindle, but I really, really liked it. And then I started reading this one and I just didn't like this one. But with that said, I hear the third one is fantastic because that one apparently goes back to a much more similar style to the first and wraps a lot of things up and is just brilliant. So in order to go on to the third, I need to read the second, and in order to read the second, I needed to have an actual copy of it. So now I do, and I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try again. I don't know when I'm going to try again, but I'm going to try again. And now the two books that I am super excited about because they were both highly, highly anticipated releases for me in 2017. The first one, I was contacted by Tor and they offered to send this to me. This book is Crossroads of Canopy, which is by Thoraya Dyer. It's a debut book and it's book one in the Titan's Forest trilogy. I have spoken about this book in my most anticipated releases video, so I won't go into too much detail, but as far as I understand it, it's about this group of people, this civilization that live in the top of a treetop canopy in a sort of jungle, and they have this civilization who live on the floor beneath them, who are kind of subservient to them. It sounds like it's going to have involvement from gods and be really kind of crazy and cool. I'm planning on reading this one in February with Mercedes, who's also got a copy of it, I believe, and we're going to do a buddy read. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's quite a short book. I think it's only about 300 pages, which is kind of cool. And this one officially comes out on the 31st of January, so really soon. So you can pick up a copy for yourself if you want to. One of my most anticipated books of the year. This is probably my second most anticipated book of the year. Is this one, Empress of the Fool by David Hare. This is what the spine looks like. This is the back. Obviously this is a proof copy, so it's not what it actually will look like. The final cover will look more like this, as you can see. But this comes out in March on the 9th, and it's the first one in a new series by him called the Sun Surge Quartet. His original series was called the Moontide Quartet, and the Sun Surge is a period that happens after the Moontide in this world. It's set on a world called Earth, which is very much inspired by Earth, but a very fantastical version. It follows two continents which are divided by a bridge, and this bridge is flooded most of the time. Only for 2 years in every 12 is it actually available to cross, and this is during the Moontide. So that's what the first series focuses on. It's these warring continents. It's epic, like so epic in scope. There are so many good characters, male and female, and so much awesome magic. It's better than Game of Thrones in my opinion by far, but it's just so good. So good. I loved it. I absolutely adored the whole of the Moontide Quartet series, or quartet. But this is the Sun Surge Quartet, book one, and I believe it's set in the same world a couple years later. I'm not sure how much later. It sounds fantastic. It says, the Emperor is dead and his rivals are scrabbling for power. But any misstep could plunge the land, already devastated by the shocking outcome of the Third Crusade, into a calamitous civil war. The imperial throne is not the only one in jeopardy. Two brothers, imprisoned veterans of the Crusades, finally return home to find their father's kingdom being plundered. But the price of regaining their birthright will have far-reaching implications for the entire empire. In the east, Sultan Selim, peacemaker and visionary ruler, faces his greatest challenge as the people demand an invasion of the west in retribution for the Rondian Crusades. And, lurking in the darkness, ostracizing both the power and struggles and inevitable conflicts, is a shadowy group threatening to destroy civilization itself. Once more, Earth stands on the brink of cataclysm. And if that doesn't sound amazing to you, I don't know why you're here, because that is kind of like the pinnacle of my epic fantasy love. David Hare is a New Zealand-based writer who has been inspired by Indian culture, Asian culture, Western culture. He's kind of inspired by everything, and he brings a lot of that into his work in various ways, and I think it's fantastic, and I love all his stuff that I've read so far. So I have high hopes for this, and I don't think it's going to disappoint me. I feel very confident going in that I'm going to love it. Fingers crossed. So, yay for this. I'm so happy I have it. And this was sent to me by Joe Fletcher Books, so thank you to them so much. So that is it for this part, but I'm going to go straight into the other part that I've already filmed, so go and enjoy that. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This says, "Beware the evil in the woods," and it's a beautiful cover. I bought this one myself when I went up to London last weekend with Eleanor. I really, really loved the cover and I really liked the sound of it, and I think a few of you actually recommended that I buy this one and that you thought it would be something I'd like. It helps that there's a thing on the back from Robin Hobb, a quote that says, "An extraordinary retelling of a very old tale. A Russian setting adds an unfamiliar spice to the story of a young woman who does not rebel against the limits of her role in the culture so much as transcend them. A wonderfully layered novel of family roles and the harsh wonders of deep winter magic." It sounds fantastic. I've already read like a few pages of this, not very far. I like the way it's begun. Hopefully I like the rest of it as well. It's one I bought for myself, it just didn't turn up in time for my December book haul, and it's called A Guide to Being Born by Ramona Osabel. This is a short story collection. I've seen this on a few people's channels and everyone said it's really, really good. A pregnant teenage girl believes she will give birth to any number of strange animals rather than a human baby. An expectant father wakes to find that small drawers have appeared in the centre of his chest. A girl discovers the ghost of a Civil War hero living in the woods behind her house. The parents of a severely disabled daughter must decide whether to perform a surgery that will keep her from growing. Two siblings take their place in a family story that is mostly fictional. As we read A Guide to Being Born, we travel through the stages of life and all the transformations that occur. Sounds amazing. I've heard great things from lots of people about this. Also a book I bought for myself. This one is one I'd never heard of, but when I was in London with Eleanor, I decided to take a gamble on a book, and this was the one I chose. It's called The Midnight Queen, and it's by Sylvia Hunter, book one of the Midnight Queen trilogy. I was initially drawn to it by the cover, because I think you'll all agree it's a beautiful cover, really, really nice. And then I saw that Mary Brennan, who is the author of A Natural History of Dragons, and which is one of my favourite series, had a quote on the back, and it said, "The Midnight Queen keeps taking fresh turns, a fresh and inventive historical novel. I can't wait to see what Sylvia Hunter does next." It's a historical fantasy, I think. In the hallowed halls of Oxford Merlin College, the most talented and highest born sons of the kingdom are taught the intricacies of magical theory, but what dazzles can also destroy, as Grey Marshall is about to discover. Meeting with Grey sets up a series of events that will lead them to uncover a conspiracy at the heart of the kingdom, and into the legend of the Midnight Queen, who vanished without a trace years before. I definitely am intrigued, I'm super excited. It's actually got pretty good ratings on Goodreads as well, and I've never heard of it, so I'm hopeful that I'll like it. And another one I got when I was shopping with Eleanor last weekend was Tahara Mafi's Furthermore, which we actually bought a copy of this for each other, so she also has a copy that I got for her. This one says, "Once upon a time a girl was forgot. In a world brimming with colour and magic, Alice's pale skin and milk-white hair mark her as an outcast. Colour and magic are one and the same. Alice is determined to prove her magical abilities and solve the mystery of her father's disappearance. To do so, she'll have to travel into the magical, dangerous land of Furthermore, but nothing there is as it seems, and Alice may never find her way home." I believe this is a middle grade children's fiction book. Super excited about reading some more middle grade and children's stuff this year. I'm going to try and buy a few more along the year and hopefully get back into that, because I used to read a fair bit of it, but I didn't really read any in 2015 or 16 from what I remember, so I want to really push to get some more middle grade children's stuff in my reading, and this sounds like a good one, so I'm looking forward to this. Then I have two graphic novels that I was kindly given by Eleanor because she was doing a clear out and wanted to get rid of them. So the first one is this one. It's called 18 Days and it's by Grant Morrison. Volume 1, War Begins. It's got a very pretty cover, which was what initially drew me to it. Apparently it's written by Grant Morrison and a group of Indian writers including Gothan Chopra, Sharad Devanjan and Ashwin Pand, and apparently it's a reimagining of the great Eastern myth, I can never say this, the Mahabharata, which I think is also the myth that David Hare's books focus on, the pyre and that. I've been reading them, so that's kind of interesting. And it tells the story of 3 generations of super warriors meeting for the final battle of their age, featuring spectacular artwork by Jevan J. Kang. So let's take a look at the artwork. This is what it looks like. It's quite bright and vibrant, which is always a good thing. And the other one that she was getting rid of is Southern Cross, which I had heard of, but again, I don't think I've heard many people talk about it. It's by Clunan, Bellinger and Lowridge. I know Becky Clunan because she was one of the writers or illustrators for Gotham Academy, I think. Now boarding Southern Cross, Tanker Flight 73 to Titan, Alex Braith is on board, retracing her sister's steps to the refinery moon, hoping to collect her remains and find some answers. Sounds pretty interesting. This is what the artwork looks like. Very nice colours. Very nice colours, I like that. So, really looking forward to giving this one a try. Up next, I have a book that I requested for review. This one is Leanne Hearn's second book in her duology, and this one is called Lord of the Darkwood. It follows on from Emperor of the Eight Islands, which I have read and reviewed already, so if you want to look up that review, you can. And I really enjoyed the first one in this. It's a kind of oriental mixed world with magic and weird mysteries and creepy prophecies. All of that stuff I really like, but I tend to find that I enjoy Asian-inspired prophecy stories way more than Western-inspired ones, so I'm super looking forward to kind of continuing on with this series and seeing how it turns out. The next one I have is a Gallant's book, and this is by Karen Joy Fowler, and it's called Sarah Canary. It says, when black-cloaked Sarah Canary wanders into a railway camp in Washington, 1873, Chin Al Kin is ordered by his uncle to escort the ugliest woman he could imagine away, far away. But Chin soon becomes her follower, and they embark on a series of adventures and misadventures that are hilarious, deeply moving, and downright terrifying. Now, the thing I find interesting about this is that it says it's amazing as a quote from Ursula K. Le Guin, who is amazing herself, so I'm really excited to try this one out, and I can't wait to give it a go. Moving on to an entirely different but very beautiful looking book. This one is See You in the Cosmos, Carl Sagan, and it's by Jack Cheng. This one was sent to me from Penguin. I didn't request it, just turned up, but my goodness, it's a beautiful one, so I was not really complaining. I think this is a kind of middle grade book from what I found out about it. It comes out on the 2nd of March 2017, by the way. It says, all 11-year-old Alex wants is to launch his golden iPod into space. With the series of audio recordings, he will show other life forms out in the cosmos what life on Earth, his Earth, is really like. But for a boy with a long-dead dad, a troubled mum, and a mostly not-around brother, Alex struggles with the big questions. Where do I come from? Who's out there? And above all, how can I be brave? Determined to find the answers, Alex sets out on a remarkable road trip that will turn his whole world upside down. See you in the cosmos, Carl Sagan. And the final one I have is one that just turned up today, and that is this one, this beauty, The Bear and the Serpent by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've never read any Adrian Tchaikovsky, but I do fully intend to, and I own a couple of his books now. I own the first one in his Empire of Black and Gold series, and I own the sci-fi one that won an award, that's name I forget. I own that one too. This is actually the second book in a series. I don't have the first one, so I'm going to have to pick up the first, but it's good because I wanted to read the first, and this is like the excuse to do that. So I'm not going to read what it is because I don't want to spoil it, but I think it's going to be pretty awesome. But if you've read the first, is it awesome? Should I get it? And then should I read this one? Let me know that. Thank you all so much for watching. That is everything that I have to show you today in both of the parts of this video. So I'd love to know down in the comments which books are you most excited about. I know which ones I'm most excited about. I bet you can probably guess in the comments. Let me know. Thank you all for watching. Do leave me your thoughts if you've read any of these. If you want to read any, tell me about it. And I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.